Alrighty, so today we are going to be walking through a level that I made that teaches you how to shell jump. This is actually going to be the first recorded video. I don't know when we'll put this in. There'll probably be a playlist or something that actually gives the proper order you should learn things in. But for those that only care about shell jumps, because it's a very popular Kaizo tech, then you're in for a treat, because we're going to teach you most shell jumps. At least most of the ones you should care about. There's a subworld that has a bunch of optional BS stuff that we'll walk through as well. But yeah, we're gonna try to explain to the best of my abilities. It's gonna be hard since Mario Maker is a little different. I can't just like pause or go in slow-mo. We just gotta kind of explain and do things. Yeah. So here we go. First things first. We're gonna have a shellmet here, and I kind of split this up into a good order you should focus things on. And the first thing right here is, you know, it's a little one tile wide gap, right? And the whole purpose of this is to kind of condition you when you should let go of Y. So to do a shell jump, all you have to do is hold the shell and you throw it, which means you press Y and then you let go of Y. And all you do is you let go of Y at the right time and you bounce off of it. Whoa! The second most important thing is to realize what you do wrong. So if you don't do the shell jump, it's gonna be one of two reasons. Either the shell's below you, like that, and if the shell's below you, that means you threw it too early. And if you throw the shell, and usually you wouldn't have a shellmet, but if you take damage or it's above you, like that, that means you threw it too late. So that'll help tell you what you do wrong so you can correct it. If you keep throwing it too early, you'd be like, oh, maybe I should release it a little later. And then you'd be like, oh, cool. Yeah. So I don't really have frame data for this game, which kind of sucks, but I want to say that the shell jump is like 2 frame window. That's my estimate. Something like that. I don't know. Alright. Second part. We're going to show you how to do an actual shell jump. Whoa! So what is this line for, you wonder? Well, that is because that in this game, if you throw something, you don't interact with it for a certain amount of time. This will probably be covered in an earlier level, but in this video, you can see that this line signifies, well, get this one we go away again. If I throw the shell through me, you can see I don't take damage. So that's why when you do shell jumps, you want to be, for the most part, a little away from the wall. And I have this line to help you visualize that. It's about like 2 blocks away. And then once you understand like the frame, the amount of time that you are invulnerable to being interacting with this guy, you'll get an idea of how far you need to be. So that's why this is here. You can do it against the wall if you throw it further, but most of the time you do shell jump, you're gonna be put near the wall. So, hey, stop this. Alright, moving on to this one. I actually watched someone do this, and they were kind of doing it wrong, but at the same time, this teaches you another kind of tech. I want to say tech, but something you should get good at. And that is your horizontal movement, your left-right movement. So you might be in a position where you're going really fast, right? And you need to go fast, because if you don't go fast, you're just going to bonk this bumper. You'll be like, oh! That's why it's here. You can be like, oh! So you need to go fast. But the problem is if you go fast and you try to do shell jump, you're gonna go through the shell, as we saw in the previous wall here. So what you need to do is when you get your max speed, you gotta hold left, and then at the last possible time, you wanna hit right and let go, so you throw the shell to the right. Because the direction you throw the shell is basically determined by the last input you do, whether that's left or right. So if you, at the last second, hold right, even though you're facing left, okay, well not up, you'll throw it to the right. And you need to hold left so that you're a certain distance away from the wall, so that way you can interact with it. So that's why this is here. So you can see that if I don't interact with it, that means I was too close to the wall. Alright, well, as you can see, we're having some issues with our button here. So this one's a little trickier one. But you get good at this, you'll get good at determining how far you need to be from the wall when you throw a shell. It's very difficult. Yeah, so that's that one. Alright, moving on, we have this one. So this is going to teach you to hold left. So I know most levels you go left to right, and shell jumps you throw it to the right wall. But here, you're going to press left. It might sound simple, but it's very difficult. When you spend most of the game holding right, all of a sudden you got hold left. So to condition you to do that, we have a very simple shell jump. You don't actually have to time the shell. because there's ground here. So it just kind of helps you get used to holding left, throwing it left. Kind of the same idea with the previous section, right? Where you want to hold right the last second when you're holding left. Here's the opposite. You want to press left at the last second while you're going to the right. Just like that. Most of the time you'll probably go too far to the left where you do like this, and then you'll be like, oh no, I can't catch the shell. It's all in the flick of the, oh goodness. Flick of the thumb right there. Now this one you actually have to time it, so you have to combine both your holding left abilities with your letting go of Y at the proper time abilities. And again, if you throw it too early, it'll go below you, and if you throw it too late, it'll go above you. Very important to remember, so that way you can figure out what you do wrong. I tend to always throw it too early. And then you start to get an idea of when you get a proper shell jump. Well, you can see when you do it. Also, the piggies. Big fan of piggies, right? I guess one thing to mention, which I might mention in a different video, is that you fall at the... I'm gonna get like crucified for saying the wrong terminology, but your max fall speed is the same max fall speed as anything else in this game. So that's why if you miss time to throw, you can see that I never fall down and catch up with the shell. That's why it's very important to get the timing right, because if you mess up, you'll know. Like you can see that I'm falling at the same speed as the shell, and that's not good. And that's why the shell jump is such a small window, because of that. Also, I should probably, it's more new. We're gonna do this shell jump real quick, and then we are going to start over, because I'm gonna run out of time. I don't have infinite time, which kinda sucks. As you can see, I still suck at this game as well. Yay! Alright, let's start over. Oh yeah, another thing about this type of shell jump is it helps condition you to not hold right the entire time as well. Since if you hold right the entire time, you're gonna go faster than the shell, right? You can see that I actually beat the shell. So what you need to do is stop holding right, and then only hold right if you feel you need to catch up or speed up. Not catch up. You can also hold left if you want, but I tend to not hold left. I usually just let go of right and then adjust if I need to. That's another very important mechanic that you need to get good at, which is really kind of a prerequisite to shell jumping. Alright, so this one, the drop shell jump. So the idea for this one is you want to drop the shell, so that way it's below you, and then you hit it later rather than kicking it. Because if you just kick it, right, it's going to go an entirely different path, and if you drop it, and you run into it, and you bonk on it later. So there's times when you need to do drop shell jump. Same idea applies. If you don't hit it, because it's below you, dropped it too early, and if you don't hit it from above, or you hit it from above and you take damage, you dropped it too late. The timing is basically the same. I would say if anything, you should drop it a frame earlier, but the timing is basically pretty identical. And it's very important that you let go of Y, because if you let go of Y and then re-grab it too early, you'll just pick up the shell again like that. So that's another thing you need to get used to. Holding Y, letting go of Y, and re-grabbing it at the right time. If you do it too early, then you're just going to re-grab the shell. But the problem is, you also need to press Y not too late to make this gap, because most of the time, if you let go of Y, you're not going to have enough horizontal speed to make gaps. So it really conditions you to realize when you need to let go of Y, when to hold Y, and re-grab it. Very important. So this is just here to make you take damage, because for the next part you actually can't have a shellment. The whole purpose of having the shellment was so that you can take damage and not die, since it's very easy to die to a shell jump. So that's the whole purpose of that. Now we have a checkpoint here, so if you somehow die, I'll be like, oh, I died? That's okay, because we have a checkpoint for you. Very convenient. Now this one is the up throw. So it's basically the same inputs as the drop one, but just different timing. I should really not touch the speed if I need to. But yeah, so it's the same inputs, but the timing is very vastly different. You want to throw the shell way earlier. This one, I can't really tell you when, you just have to feel it. So if you get used to knowing when your jump timing is, I don't know what to call it, the amount of airtime you have, it's like towards the middle of your airtime. Shell jumps are all at the peak of your jump, but for this type of throw, you want to do it towards the middle. And they're basically the exact same inputs. You want to let go of Y until you hit the shell, and then you re-grab it to get the speed back. This one's a little easier because I let you hug the wall. Same with the drop one, you can hug the wall, but we'll discuss when you have situations where you can't hug the wall after these. It progressively gets harder. Well, harder, and also it just explains tech in a kind of precise way. So yeah, there's that one. And now here's the one where you can't hug a wall. So if you try to just hold right, or you're just gonna not run into it. I actually could have died right there. So this is where you really need to get comfortable with your horizontal movements, your left-right action. I killed them all. Because the moment you throw the shell up, you want to start holding left. Most of the time. And you also want to throw the shell with not a lot of speed. That's why this mole is here, because if I throw it with not a lot of speed, it's easier. I died. It's easier to kind of control it. Also, I forgot, you have to hit it to the right, not the left. That one you hit it to the left, this one you hit it to the right. So you want to hit the shell on the right side like that. Probably should indicate this better. I'm bad. Oh well, forgive me. So yeah, if you go with a lot of speed, right? If I do like, imagine dying in the tutorial. So if you go with a lot of speed, right? It's gonna be way harder to go back to the left. So that's why when you're about to land on the mole, you want to like position yourself so that you can. I keep forgetting to hit to the right. So it's easier to interact with the shell. That way you can hit the shell at the right spot like that. And now it's just a matter of getting enough speed to make that, because I was too slow. So I need to find the balance between going very fast and going too slow. Because this one's a tough one to make. But because it's so high, it forces you to get good. And that's all Kaizo is. You just gotta get good. But yeah, so that combines pretty much everything. The up throw timing, you gotta hold left and re-grab Y. But like I said, this one, or the orders of these shell jumps are very important since it progressively gets more input heavy. And that way you can figure out where you really need to improve and what step of the way you are into achieving this part. So just like with up throw, the reason why we have the down throw here is because I can actually use the shellmet. Because you can't have a shellmet, because, you know, that's why it happens, so that's why I had to get rid of it. But now, you got the same idea. Drop the shell, hit it to the left. This one you actually do need speed. Because if you're too slow, you hit it to the right, which is not what you want. So now it trains you to do the opposite. Get fast, and hit it to the left. Again, you don't want to go too fast. If you go too fast, you're just gonna, well, not only kick the shell. You're going to not have time to run into it. But yeah, the idea is, if you want to hit it to the right, you go slower. If you want to hit it to the left, you go faster. It's very easy to hit it to the right when you're going slow. Like, you can just practice, you know, just like that. Now, if you want to go fast, or you want to hit to the right, you gotta go fast. But since I'm bad, you want to hit to the left, you gotta go fast. You want to hit to the right, you gotta go slow. There we go. I know how to use directions. So since you want to hit to the left, we gotta go fast. And again, timing is hard. I actually don't even hold right here. I kind of just let go of Y, and I kind of just let my speed happen sometimes. When you get good at figuring that out, yeah, you don't even need to hold right, or even left if you go too fast. So you start to figure that timing out, and it'll feel second nature to you. Now, what is this one? Oh yeah, this one's just to hold to the right. So you can go fast, or go slow. And then the moment you hit the shell, you kind of want to go fast, so that way you can catch up with it. So this will help really train you to figure out when you want to hit it to the left and when you want to hit it to the right, so that way it doesn't feel like, oh, I'm going to drop the shell, I'm going to pray it's going to go to the left or the right. Since it's kind of dependent on your speed when you drop it, it makes it easier. You can actually see right there, I kind of slowed down a little, I held left. Like, you can see me turn around right here, like that. That's another thing I noticed. So that way it helps to figure out where I'm gonna hit the shell exactly. That way I don't go too far to in front of it and hit it to the left. It's all about the left rights, man. Left rights are very important. And also making this jump is also important. Like, I can't do this. Can't do it! These guys can't do it. There we go. And then this is just a regular shell jump. It doesn't really teach you anything, but I guess it puts pressure on you, because if you mess up... Alright, so what happens if you mess up, alright? Here's what the stakes are. It doesn't take you back to that, it takes you back to the previous one. So you gotta do this again. So I guess it kind of just helps... helps you perform under pressure. You don't want to have performance anxiety, right? Like this. Yeah, see? We're good. Oh, what a little comment here, huh? So that's the basics of shell jumps. Congratulations, if you made it this far, you can do most types of shell jumps that are, I guess, common. Maybe homie one-ups. We care about your endless runs. Yeah. But wait, there's more. If you want to care about the BS stuff that you see in the dumb Kaizo, they're not dumb, but like, the more complicated stuff, your boys got you. We got the sub-world with another checkpoint, and welcome to hell. So the first trick here is what people call a reclaimer, and that's where you drop the shell, and it's different than the drop shell jump because you immediately bounce off of it. Like that. So this right here is just to help you get the timing for that, which is very similar to a drop shell jump timing. The only difference is it's a little bit more lenient since you can be above the shell and it'll still work. Like, you can kind of tell I'm really low, and it'll still work. I think it's like one extra frame of leniency, but yeah, so all you just drop it. And we'll get into the specifics later, but you drop it, you don't want to hold Y because you over-grab it and you just bounce off the shell. And that's basically the reclaimer timing. So that'll help you get the timing. Now here's an actual reclaimer, right? Friendly reminder that these are dumb and I hate them. But some people love them. And it's very complicated and very precise. There are some setups that make it free, like this one. But for a setup like this, we've seen some Kaizo levels where you bounce off something and then you drop the shell against the wall. To my knowledge, and again, I might have to correct this later, but to my knowledge, a reclaimer has 3 variables involved. The first variable, which we just discussed right here, is when you drop the shell. So that timing is the first important part. The second part is how far the shell is away from the wall. And you want the shell to be about, like, I want to say half a block away. I think that's the highest success rate. So like right here, right? If it's against the wall, it's not gonna work. So if you drop it, you'll notice the shell goes forward a little. So you want to drop it a little earlier. And then the last variable is your positioning, your horizontal position. It wants to be about the same, a little further away, like a block away, I'd say. Like right about here. So I'm gonna try to do it. Yeah, so like that. And if you don't get the reclaimer, you did one of those 3 things wrong. And I still struggle, plentiful, trying to do these. But some people, they have it here. So yeah, you can see we're getting it. You want to approach it kind of slow. This setup kind of makes it easy. So you can see right there, I threw the shell, or I dropped the shell too close to the wall, so it didn't work. It didn't matter where I was. But you want to move pretty slow, so that way you can have more time to line it up. Same with like the drop ones and the up ones. You can't do it when you're going fast, right? So if I go really fast, it's significantly harder, but still possible. This just helps you get an idea of how to do it. And again, this is my understanding of how reclaimers work. This is so hard. There we go. See that? That's what happens when you need to go super fast. But yeah, you want to go slow. Helps line things up. This one just kind of shows you that you can have pseudo midair shell jumps where you throw the shell and you do shell jump without the assistance of a wall or something to bounce off of. For example, here's a thwomp. The thwomp goes towards you, so the shell slows down. You can use a conveyor, but I didn't bother doing it because I figured this one would be easy enough to show. Now we have the Yoshman shell jump. The Yoshman shell jump has a vastly different shell jump timing. So since when you spit out the shell, it like falls earlier, and you're higher up on Yoshimon, you want to spit the shell earlier. Same principle applies. If you are above the shell, you spat it out too early. If you're below it, you spat it out too late. And I would say probably like it's near the top of your jump, near the peak. I'd say like 80% of the top. Something like that. You get a feel for it though. So that one's not too bad. And here's another assisted midair. A ceiling. Yeah, if you throw it against a sloped ceiling, the shell will slow down. And you see this kind of often. Most common mistakes here are you throw the shell too far away from the wall that it doesn't collide with the ceiling. So you can see if I like jump earlier and I throw the shell, it entirely misses the sloped ceiling, so then you don't even have a chance. So you're gonna be pretty close to it. You start to get the timing down. It's a little earlier than a regular shell jump. Like right before you bonk the ceiling, really. You start to get that timing. But yeah. Now this one, I don't see this one too often. So shell jumps are easy if you are in a position where you can just hold jump the entire time, since you can determine and feel your air time. So you're about to hit the peak of your jump and you start to let go of Y, you get the shell jump, right? Right, very easy. Now it's different when you immediately lose that peak because you bonk in the wall. Similar with the sloped ceiling where you had to throw it earlier than you're comfortable with, and how you throw it right before you collide with the ceiling, you do the same thing here. You throw the shell before you hit the ceiling, the timing's all weird. I kind of just condition it to relative to when I'm about to bonk on the ceiling rather than relative to my jump, like time and my air time. But this one is, you don't really see it that often. I'm gonna run out of time. Same thing, same idea here, except you can't hold jump the entire time. You hold jump the entire time, you end up right here. So what you need to do is you need to let go of jump, but you also need to let go of Y while holding, or you have to let go of Y and then regrab jump if possible. Although the easiest way I kind of do this is I let go of both buttons at the same time and regrab both at the same time. I figure that's the least complicated way to make this not bad. I might time out. Your boy might have to do this over. But yeah, so there's that one. It's like a controlled jump, that's what they call it, right? Where you don't hold jump the entire time, so you have to control your jump height. Now this one has a dumb name. But basically, you throw the shell up against the wall and you catch up with it. Since when you throw the shell backwards, you actually move faster than it. So if you see, right? I'm catching up with the shell. And that's why you need to throw the shell against the wall, because of the fact that you don't interact with it for a few frames, right? So you need to have the shell pass you during that not interacting phase, and then you need to catch up with the shell, and it's pretty precise. Because if you throw it too close to the wall with not enough speed, you won't make the gap, and if you throw it too far to the right, you're just going to bounce off the shell like this. So this one takes a bit of practice. But it's mainly the harder ones, the harder shell levels. I'm going to time out. Yay, we get to do everything again. That's good. If you spend so long trying to do this, you're just gonna time out and then you have to train the previous sections. Fair. There we go, that'll work. So that's another thing. I had to intentionally slow down a little, so I stopped holding right, because if I held right, I would have bounced off the shell earlier. So you'll need to control your horizontal speed relative to the shell. That's another mechanic some people implement in their levels. And finally, the double shell jump. There's actually going to be an individual level dedicated to the double shell jump where I break it up into, I believe, 4 different parts. I'm not going to explain it in depth, but we'll just do it to show you what it means. Oh wait, I actually had to get rid of my shell mitt. I forgot about this. Okay, so I'm just going to show you. If I mess up then I die, we do this all over again. Very stressful. But yeah, so you want to throw the shell up at the peak of your jump. That's usually the easiest time to do it. And then at that point, it's just doing 2 shell jumps with the proper timing. So peak of the jump, the easiest time, and just do 2 shell jumps, which I can't do. Again, you want to be a certain amount away from the wall, as we talked about, where you don't interact with it for a couple frames. So that's why I throw it further, and then I can just do shell jumps. The fans, look at you guys. True ending! 30 coin? Oh, look at this. You want the true ending, you gotta go through all the BS stuff, but that's okay, you have checkpoints. There you go, fans. True ending, THX, and now you can show them. Congratulations. You passed. There we are, my little doctor suit, because that's the closest I could get to a professor look. Oh yeah, since there's all different types of game modes, I did Super Mario World since you can throw things up and drop things, but the shell jump timing is pretty much the same to my knowledge. Like a New Soup 3D World, SMB1, SMB3, you throw the shell, well I guess you can't throw an SMB1, but the timing in which the shell gets launched is approximately the same. But yeah, they're all the same. There's probably like a few different types of shell jumps. I don't know if I'll make dedicated levels for it. I might. Like in New Soup, you can do ground pound cancels and you can twirl, so that way you can delay your fall if you throw the shell too late. Same with 3D World, but yeah, they're pretty much the same. So yeah, I don't know if we'll do like extended levels for each different type of game mode, but anything that's like substantially different, like the ground pound cancel or twirl ones, we'll probably cover in a different video. But again, that's because the physics and the tech for each game mode is slightly different, but for the most part they're very similar.